Hi, everyone. Happy Disability Pride Month. My name is Nico Meyering. I'm a white man with blonde hair. I have black headphones on, large dark glasses, and I'm also wearing a black shirt. I guess I'm color coordinated today. I'm seated in front of a blurred purple background. I'm here today with Mary Fashik. Mary, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, Nico. My name is Mary Fashik. My pronouns are she, her. I am a Lebanese woman with short, dark curly hair, wearing glasses, an orange top, black headphones, and I'm sitting in a black office chair in a white home office.
Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. What does disability pride mean to you?
Disability pride to me means occupying space unapologetically and not giving way to non-disabled individuals and their ableist attitudes. I am who I am. I am unapologetic about it, and I'm going to occupy space whether they like it or not. That being said, disability pride is also honoring the fact that I am very proud to be disabled, but I'm also chronically ill. And I have to honor the fact that my health is getting worse and worse by the day. And sometimes I don't love my body, and that's okay too.
It is okay. We try to make space for all feelings about disability. How we approach our disability changes day by day, and that's totally fine. I also love what you say about taking up space unapologetically and the overall, I wouldn't say confrontational, but like non-conciliatory tone you take. I love it. Take up your space. Fantastic. What lessons have you learned, Mary, from living a disabled life?
Not to be morbid, but I have learned that non-disabled people do not want me to exist in their world. They do not want me here. I am seen as a burden to them. And this is something that I internalized for
Mhm.
many, many, many years. That I was indeed a burden, that I did not belong here. And it has taken me years to unlearn that internalized ableism. And I've also learned that being disabled, and I want to give credit to my friend El Zuza for saying this, but disability is a beautiful thing. And being disabled is amazing.
I love it. That's so fantastic. I'm sorry that you run into people who just don't want you to exist and who just don't want you to have the resources and services that you need to survive and even thrive, as that is our right as people. Like, we're here on this earth right now, and as a result of that, we have inherent value. We have things that we deserve. There are not metrics that we have to meet to earn rest or earn food or earn any modicum of care that you might imagine. I want to flip this question now on its head, and you actually have done me a huge favor because you began to talk about this. But what are some lessons you've had to unlearn as a result of your disabled journey?
I think really the most important thing is that being disabled and disability is not negative.
Mhm.
It can have, my disability has negative effects on my body, yes, but the fact that I'm disabled is not a negative thing. And I, in the workshops that I facilitate, I'm always reiterating to non-disabled people that the reason why they think disability or disabled is a negative word is because they are the ones that have attached a negative connotation to that word. it is because of them that that word has any negative to it, not because of disabled people. So they are so honed in on disability being negative and disabled being a negative word that they have made it a negative thing for everyone. And it took me a long time to unlearn that disability and even the word disabled is not negative. I used to say things like, oh, handy capable, and all of the little euphemisms that we want. And I'm like, no, why? Why am I conforming to non-disabled? Why am I trying to be palatable for non-disabled people? And another thing I always say is disability is not palatable, nor does it have to be.
Thank you so much. That's really fantastic. I love hearing about your mindset change, if you will, from realizing that as a disabled person, you are under no obligation to live up to abled standards or abled values that just ultimately don't fit for you or that aren't feasible for you. I see you in that, and I value your work. Thank you. The last planned question that I have is, what do you want able-bodied people to know about disability life?
That it's not as they imagine it. I think we are all stuck in the 80s and 90s. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s as well. And where they're stuck in that mind frame of what disability, how it used to be portrayed. Disability is not what you think it is. And also, you are only one accident away or one positive COVID test away from becoming one of us now. So don't like the fact that so many non-disabled people have implicit bias when it comes to disability. They need to start breaking down those implicit biases in order to truly understand what it means to be disabled and what it means to be disabled in 2022 and not 1990 or they still think it is.
As someone who was himself born in 1988, I really value that response. I was born disabled. I've never known differently. And I'm very lucky in the sense that when I was born, my parents did take it upon themselves to find out more about my condition because it's relatively rare, to begin like a support group, a patient advocacy group, and to grow up in what was, I guess for the time, a pretty like positive environment. But even I got messages of like, Nico, you're not really disabled because you do so many cool things. When the reality is, disabled people do cool things all the time. And disabled people are just naturally cool themselves. Mary, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to give you now a chance to promote yourself, shout out any projects you have, any social media accounts you have worth following. What are you up to? This is your soapbox time.
Thank you for this space. It is appreciated. I am the founder of Upgrade Accessibility. It is a social movement that was initially started to challenge today's accessibility standards. So you and I both know that non-disabled people are the ones who decide what is accessible for us. And I got tired of that. I was in a local grocery store 4 years ago now with my friend, and I went to use the restroom, and my motorized wheelchair barely fit into the stall, the accessible stall. And I came out of that bathroom and I looked at my friend and I said, accessibility needs an upgrade. And I also said, who decides what's accessible? So I took that anger, if you will, and frustration, and I turned it into a hashtag. And that was August of 2018. And life gets in the way. So I did start the hashtag and I posted a few things on social media, but in December of 2018, my access needs were denied in public, which caused me to have an accident. And the accident caused further disability and further damage to my body. So that is when I channeled all of the anger and made a great accessibility a social movement. I now have a considerable following on Instagram. You can follow at Upgrade Accessibility on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And the spectrum of what I cover with Upgrade Accessibility has expanded to disability justice, reproductive justice. We talk about, my main thing is talking about intersectionality, because I noticed that those with larger platforms were white, cisgender, disabled people. I am a queer, disabled woman of color. There wasn't space for me when I started my movement in January of 2019. And to be honest, I feel like there still is not space for me, but I'm doing my best to make space and occupy that space and do it unapologetically. And so that is my main thing. I advocate really, really hard for our community. I hold space for our community. I'm not like other advocates and activists, and that's okay. I don't want to be like other advocates and activists. I want to be unique. I want my platform to be unique. And I want to ruffle some feathers, both within and outside of the disabled community. I guess organize a reproductive rights rally for the disabled and chronically ill community. You can find that on YouTube. The speakers were powerful. It is closed captions, and also we had ASL interpreters as well. I also work with nonprofit organizations to weed out that ableism, because there is so much ableism within the nonprofit sector. It is astounding. I also have a children's book coming out in May of 2023. It's going to be kind of like a graphic novel type thing. I'm excited. The main character is going to be like me, a little Lebanese girl who's disabled and has cerebral palsy, and there aren't a lot of books with disabled characters who have cerebral palsy, so I was really excited to have the opportunity to do that. I also have a podcast called The Politics of Disability. I recently was privileged enough to interview Stacey Abrams on my podcast, and that was the most amazing experience.
That's fantastic. That's a huge get. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you so much.
Mary, thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you as well.